Hi guys, Scott Woodward with you, and what a great World Cup final we have with the two best teams in the world, and some reputations are really going to go on the line in this game. It's the biggest stage in the world in World Rugby League football. It doesn't get any bigger, and this is the stage where the great players stand up and generally say, well, this is why I'm a great player. And both teams have got an even balance of those great players. I'm not talking about outstanding first-grade players or even good internationals. I'm talking about great players. And we're going to talk about some of those and some of the reputations online. At the end of this commentary, I have a special for you, so stay online or go straight to the end if you don't want to watch it all. But I have some good deals for you that I think you'll enjoy. Now, talking about those reputations, none bigger than Billy Slater. I'm doing this presentation based on the fact that I expect Billy Slater, the player. He's a great healer. The doctors said a couple of weeks ago that he wouldn't be playing, but he's done it before and he'll do it again. Now, while I think he'll play, there's no way in the world he can be 100% in terms of speed. With the injury that he's had, I've been told that his speed will be down a little bit, even though he will be able to run okay, and he'll be better than 99.9% of other players. He will still be down a little bit, and that little 2.5%, 3% of speed that it will be lacking that's the little bit that gets Billy through those gaps. So, look, I think it's a negative for Australia if Billy comes in the fullback, because he's replacing Inglis, who I think is the best fullback in the world. Greg had 9 tackle breaks on the weekend, did another 200 metres. Just an unbelievable player and clearly the best fullback in the world. So Australia lose something if GI goes back into the centres, in my opinion, where he's not so active. New Zealand are concerned, and I'm doing this presentation on Monday, and I'll update it through the week when we know what the proper injuries are. But I'm told that Manu Vatuvei will definitely come into the side. They really missed his punch out on the left wing there on the weekend against England, but the big end is Frank Pritchard. Now, as we're talking Monday, still a question mark on if he'll come back into the side. If he does come back into the side, I think it swings the game enormously. And I think at the 8.5 points on offer, New Zealand to win this World Cup, they are terrific value if Frank Pritchard is past fit to play in this game. I mentioned last week to have him running alongside Sonny Bill Williams and have Sonny going down the right and Frank coming down the left, and you've got guys like Ben Madalino and Jared Waweera-Hargraves coming up the middle. It's just an awesome forward pack, and I think Australia will have trouble containing some of those big guys. There's no question that New Zealand have got a superior forward pack, but Australia kill them in the backs, particularly in the centres, and that's the big issue for New Zealand. And we're going to talk about those guys in a minute. I talked about the great players standing up on this stage. I don't know how great Shaun Johnson is going to be. He's certainly got the God-given talent to be a great, but he's a little bit like Benji Marshall, can do anything, but he can go missing. And on the weekend, he went missing for 79.5 minutes, and he finally got some space, stood out wide, got the ball, and beat 2 guys with just unbelievable footwork, and scored the winning try and converted it. Just an amazing effort, but where was he during the game when they needed him? He's in a key spine position, and he needs to talk more, he needs to organise more, and he needs to get his fifth tackle options right with his kicks, his long kicks and his short kicks. They were awful on the weekend. He just needs to do better work with Kieran Foran, and Kieran Foran probably needs to put his hand up and take more of a leadership role here. They were all over the place against England, New Zealand, and look, give good credit to England. They bustled New Zealand terribly. Let me say, I thought New Zealand played awful on the weekend, absolutely awful, and they still beat a very, very good side. It's better than a very good side. It's the best England side I've ever seen. I thought England went absolutely sensational, particularly Sam Burgess, and I think that New Zealand side and the way they played on the weekend, they would have given Australia a run for their money. That's how good they went. And yet New Zealand played poorly, and they still beat them. And they're going to have Frank Pritchard coming back into the side, fingers crossed, and Manu Vatuvei coming back into the side. So they're going to be a much better side. They've had a much tougher preparation coming into this game. Now, whether or not that has taken their toll, and they're going to be too tired and too injured, where Australia have had basically 4 barrier trials, and they're going to be nice and fresh, but they haven't been tested. So it all depends on which way you want to go here. Is those hard games good, or are they bad? We're not really going to know. I'm suggesting that some of the classy players in the New Zealand side will know that this is a big stage and they'll stand up. We certainly will expect Sonny Williams to stand up. He did on the weekend. We knew he would. He topped all the stats for New Zealand, but particularly with 1 minute to go, everyone was tired, and he's just made something like 20 tackles and made 40 hit-ups, and yet he still found an effort to make 2 hit-ups in the last 1 minute of the game on Saturday, and it was that second hit-up that got the penalty for his team that allowed him to get another set and allowed him to get that try. And that's what great players do, and that's what Sonny Bill Williams did on the weekend, and I'm sure he'll have another blinder on the weekend, and I know that the players will lift around him. He's so inspirational. Billy Slater, we've talked about Billy. I think he'll come in and play. I'm confident he'll come in and play. The two wingers in the Australian side are Brett Morris and Darius Boyd. Brett Morris is the best winger in the world, has been for a long while. Darius Boyd is in great form, classy player, probably lucky to be there, but it's hard not to have him there. Jared Hayne and Greg Inglis will be the 2 centres, and they are simply the 2 best centres in the world. Greg Inglis is an all-time living legend, and Jared Hayne is not far beyond him. And based on the form that we've seen in the World Cup, Jared Hayne is the form centre of the World Cup. Certainly the last 3 games where he's just gone on a try-scoring blitz. He's just untouchable. You'd think he's got spies on him. So that's the massive strength as far as I'm concerned for Australia. Jared Hayne and Greg Inglis in the centres. They're going to be up against Dean Varey and Bryson Goodwin, who both of them are very disappointing as far as defence has been. They didn't handle England on the weekend. Both guys, they were a big concern, and they need to get that act together. Dean Varey had a lot of help from Sonny Bill Williams, and I think Bryson Goodwin didn't know what was going on, and he missed a bad tackle, which led to a try. But both Varey and Goodwin are very good on their feet and good sidesteppers, and I expect them to be very, very good in attack. But defence is going to be the big problem for them. Back on to Australia, Jonathan Thurston, he was my number 1 play in the world before the World Cup. I haven't seen anything to change that, and he steps up on stages like this, like he does on all the State of Origins. He's just one of the greatest players I've ever seen play the game. Certainly the best player I've seen since 2005, and he's still in great form, Jonathan Thurston. I'm sure he'll be a real problem for New Zealand. Cooper Cronk is the sort of player that New Zealand need. They need somebody who can talk and organise and tactical kick. They don't have a player like that. If he was playing for New Zealand, there'd be nothing in this game. The 2 props for Australia will be Matthew Scott and James Tamu. Matthew Scott ran into a bit of form on the weekend, which was good to see. James Tamu is still down on form as far as I'm concerned. I think he's probably lucky to be in the side. My 2 starting props certainly would be Paul Gallen and Andrew Fafita. I think Andrew Fafita is Australia's best prop, and I'll be starting with those 2 guys, and that would allow Corey Parker to come on and play lock forward, who I think is the best lock forward for Australia. He's got all the skills and a very high work rate. He just seems to be getting better with age. Cameron Smith, the captain and hooker, It's a World Cup final. We know Cameron will have a great game. He always does. I have to say, purely based on World Cup form, that New Zealand's Isaac Luke has overshadowed him. He's outplayed him in every capacity, in metres gained, tackles broken. He's just been wonderful, Isaac Luke. The player of the tournament, as far as I'm concerned, so far. But Cameron Smith is Cameron Smith, and you know what he'll do in the final. He won't let anybody down. The 2 back rowers for Australia, Greg Bird and Sam Friday. I think Bird is slightly down on his best form. Sam Friday, I think, is lucky to be in the side. He wouldn't be in my side. I think he's there on reputation from his State of Origin connections. I've talked about Paul Gallen. Daly Cherry Evans comes into the side, one of the best players in the world, and will be for a long time to come. He replaces Kurt Gidley, who was there on Anzac Day. Jared Hayne replaces Justin Hodges, who was there on Anzac Day. The other guy that was there on Anzac Day is Luke Lewis, and Andrew Fafita comes in, but he's actually replaced Nate Miles. So Andrew Fafita and Josh Papali are the guys into the pack with Corey Parker. The guys that were there on Anzac Day were Watmo, Lewis, Miles and Gidley. That was the bench. So we have a completely new-looking bench for Australia, but it's a fantastic-looking bench, and you have to say Jared Hayne has actually done better than Justin Hodges. You don't get a bigger rap than that. This is an outstanding Australian side. I think it's an ageing Australian forward pack, and I think New Zealand have got an edge in the forward pack. And if the key players and the key spine positions for New Zealand can actually play to their potential, there's not going to be very much in this game. Right at the moment, I think Australia will win this game by a converted try. I think the 8.5 start New Zealand is excellent value. Kevin Locke is the fullback. He had one real chance in the weekend, and he stuffed it up by throwing the ball out in the fall. He's not your ideal fullback, but he has got just genuine pace off the mark, zip, zip. And if he gets a little bit of space, he'll cause a lot of problems for Australia. He can be hot and cold. If he happens to be hot, it's going to be enormous for New Zealand. The guys that were there on Anzac Day that aren't there now are Josh Hoffman, Sam Perrott, Sean Kenny-Dowell, Kevin Proctor, Alex Glenn, Tohu Harris, and Sam McKendry. And in all honesty, I don't think New Zealand are missing any of those guys. The guys that have come in, I think, are much better players than him, so I haven't got a problem with that. Kevin Locke is just as good as Josh Hoffman. I don't think either of them are ideal fullbacks. Roger Devasa-Sheck comes in for Sam Perrott. That's a monumental upgrade. He's blossomed into truly one of the great players in the world, Roger Devasa-Sheck, and promises to be a great player for many years to come. He's just a baby. You can't believe it. Look, he got injured on the weekend. I'm told he's progressing okay. Still in the moon boot as of Monday, but they're confident that he'll be fine to take his place. I talked about Dean Varey and Bryson Goodwin. They are big red flags as far as I'm concerned in defence. I certainly would be targeting them if I was the Australian team. Manu Vatuvei just always steps up at this level. I know he's got some concerns in his game, can drop the ball, can give some silly penalties away, but he also can score tries, and he's a blockbuster. And they need his punch, and that was missing big time on that left side in the weekend with both him and Frank Pritchard missing from that team last week. It was a big effort by New Zealand to still get up and still win. So he's there, he's back. Kieran Foran has had a very good tournament so far. I was disappointed in his defence in the weekend. I thought he fell off some very, very weak tackles, but he's been terrific in defence the way he's been running the ball around and looking very dangerous and setting his players up. He's had a good tournament, Kieran. I think he's done well. He needs to go up a notch now. And he needs to work very closely with Shaun Johnson. They need to get that communication right. That wasn't there on the weekend. They thought what had worked for him before with the Minnows would work for him against England, but England didn't give him any room to move, and Australia are probably going to give him less room to move. So they need to know that, and they need to be a step ahead of the Australian offence. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves gave a dumb penalty away, as only he can, and then he went quiet. He had an awful game last weekend, and he's one of the best prop forwards in the world. And this is his stage, and he's got an opportunity to stamp his reputation here and get back on the good books with the coach, Jared Waerea-Hargreaves. I'm expecting him to have a big game. Isaac Luke, I've talked about. I think the player of the tournament so far. I can't believe he keeps finding the energy to bust tackles and find holes and set the players up. Sometimes he overdoes it a little bit. After he does some fantastic work and he makes 25 metres, and then he does something stupid. There's nothing wrong with falling down with the ball and playing it again. But, that's just the way he is. I'm sure he'll be a massive thorn for Australia, Isaac Luke. Jesse Bromwich will be the other starting prop. Look, Jesse looks terrific on paper. His stats are always good. I have to say, they look better on paper than what they do on grass. I'm not a massive fan of Jesse's. Look, I think he deserves his position, and I'm not bagging him, but I think there's better players than him. That's all I'm saying. Ben Madaleno, for instance, I think he's a far superior prop than Jesse Bromwich. I certainly would be starting with him. We've talked about Frank Pritchard. I'm in love with him. If he's okay, he was in great form before he got injured last week, and I know he'll relish this big stage. And this is an opportunity for him. Bear in mind, he wasn't in the New Zealand side in 2008, and he'll want to have a big game here. This is probably his last opportunity in the World Cup. It'll certainly be his last opportunity to play with Sonny Bill Williams. Sam Mannering, the captain, look, he's just a worker in the forward pack. He's the glue. He's no flash player, but he's an intelligent player. He's the captain. He needs to talk, and they need him in the side. There's a lot of guys in the side that can do some outstanding things. And Simon Mannering is not one of those guys, but he's the guy who keeps them all together, and he's a valuable player. He will come in and have the captain's band around his arm in this game. On the bench, Elijah Taylor will move back from the starting position onto the bench, and he can come on. He can relieve at hooker, or he'll just come on and be another worker, a great tackler. He's a very good defender, Elijah Taylor. Sam Cassiano, look, I don't know what they're going to do here. I think if Frank Pritchard plays, they may not play Sam Cassiano. They don't need another big giant in the forward pack, and they may very well play Sam Moa. I certainly would play Sam Moa. He's a lot more athletic, a better defender, and he doesn't make any mistakes. Sam Cassiano come on like a drunk, threw a stupid pass, dropped the ball, gave a dumb penalty away. Yeah, look, I know he can have 5 blokes on him and hanging off him, and he can make 20 metres, but I don't think he worries Australia. Well, I think Sam Moa hitting the ball hard up the middle will worry him. We saw what Sam Moa did in the grand final. He went fantastic as a starting prop forward, and that's the way I'd be using him again. Much better value as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know what the coach will do there, whether it'll be Sam Cassiano or Sam Moa. Frank Paul Nuwasala is injured. I'm told he'll be okay to play. And before he got injured, he was going fantastic. And he's been one of the big finds in the World Cup, Frank Paul. Look, I think he's there largely because of his Rooster connection. Maybe Sonny Bill said, I want him in the team. And that's fine. He hasn't let anybody down. He's been fantastic in this tournament, and I'm hoping he'll go well again. And I spoke about Ben Matalino as the other player. Now, the guys that aren't there, Sam McKendry, I'm happy for him not to be there. Tohu Harris, look, I think he's promising. Alex Glenn, okay. Kevin Proctor, okay. Those guys aren't going to be missed. This is a much better team now. The team that went around on Anzac Day is far inferior to what this team is going around on the weekend. This team's got Roger Tavasa-Sheck in it now, and it's got Frank Pritchard in it now, and it's got Sonny Bill Williams in it now. They are 3 of the best players in the world. And this is the best New Zealand team I've ever seen take the field. That's providing Frank plays. It's the best team I've ever seen play. And New Zealand, and while Australia are the best team in the world and deserve to be favourites, this is not the best team, and this is an ageing forward pack, which means that this could be a very, very close game, and it'll be a very competitive game. I know our members for Champion Profits, we're already on New Zealand at $6, so we're in a very good position now, and we'll work out what we're going to do for the week, so we have a win-win situation. But right at the moment, I'm going to go for Australia to win by 6 points. I think if you take the 8.5 plus New Zealand, I think you'd be collecting. But I urge you to come back to this video at the end of the week when I know exactly what is happening with Billy Slater. I know exactly what's happening with Vatuvei and Pritchard, and also Frank Paul Nuwasala, Roger Tavasa-Sheck. There's a lot of injuries, and we need to get them right, and we need to know who exactly playing. It's going to have a big impact on the game. So right at the moment, I think Australia are under the odds. I think if Frank Pritchard is out, the odds are correct. If he's that important, if he's in, I think he can make all the difference. So there it is. It's going to be a fantastic World Cup. There's no doubt about that. It's a shame the imbecile organisers have put it on at 2:30 a.m. Australia time, Sydney time. Why it couldn't have been a midnight game or a 7 a.m. game is beyond my comprehension. Australia or New Zealand was always going to be one of the teams in the final. So anyway, that's the way it is. I'll be setting my alarm clock. I'll be staying up. I'll be watching the game. It'll be fantastic. Watch the screen. I'm in the process of negotiating a great deal for you with one of the biggest bookmakers in Australia, which will allow you to give fantastic odds on Australia, all up the Australian cricket team. And I'll have that for you. You should be able to look at it right now, actually. As I'm talking to you, I don't know what it is because it's being put together right now, but it's very well worth taking. And if you go to that website, and if you go to my blog, scottwoodward.me, you'll find that there'll be an opportunity there to get free money and free bets for the bookmaker. And if you want to have a bet, it's crazy not to take it. It's fantastic value, and you need that edge if you want to win. So I hope your team wins. It's going to be a fantastic game. I'm an Australian, but I want New Zealand to win this game. But I'm going to be cheering. It's going to be a great game. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you through the week. Cheers.